two presidents leading a war against a common enemy, Mexican drug cartels. President Obama welcomed Mexico's President Felipe Calderon to the White House today, and Mr. Obama said the two countries are making progress against drug gangs.
To combat the southbound flow of guns and money, we are screening all southbound rail cargo, seizing many more guns bound for Mexico, and we are putting more gun runners behind bars.
But one of the men on the front lines of the drug war is telling a very different story to CBS News, making an accusation that could cost him his job. An agent with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms claims the agency has a policy that is actually putting guns in the cartel's hands. Here's investigative correspondent Cheryl Atkinson.
John Dodson, a federal agent, says what he was asked to do was beyond belief.
You were intentionally letting guns go to Mexico.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, the agency was.
An alcohol, tobacco, and firearms senior agent assigned to this Phoenix office since 2010, Dodson's job is to stop gun trafficking across the border. Instead, he says he was ordered to sit by and watch it happen. Investigators call the tactic letting guns walk, in this case into the hands of criminals who would use them in Mexico and the U.S. Dodson's bosses say that never happened. Now he's risking his job to go public.
I'm boots on the ground here in Phoenix and telling you we've been doing it every day since I've been here. Here I am. Tell me I didn't do the things that I did. Tell me you didn't order me to do the things that I did. Tell me it didn't happen. Now you have a name on it, you have a face to put with it. Here I am. Someone now. Tell me it didn't happen.
Agent Dodson and other insiders say the gun-walking strategy was approved all the way to the Justice Department. The idea was to see where the guns ended up, build a big case, and take down a major cartel. And it was all kept secret from Mexico.
ATF named the case Fast and Furious.
He's got a bunch of cases.
This surveillance video obtained by CBS News shows suspected drug cartel suppliers carrying boxes of weapons to their cars at a Phoenix gun shop. Those long boxes being loaded into the red car are AK-47 type assault rifles.
He's armed again, carrying another, appears to be 5 boxes of hard case pelican that would hold a pistol.
So it turns out ATF not only allowed the guns to walk, they videotaped it. Documents show the inevitable result. The guns ATF let go began showing up at crime scenes in Mexico. And as ATF stood by, watching thousands of weapons hit the street, the Fast and Furious Group supervisor noted the escalating Mexican violence. 958 killed in March 2010, the most violent month since 2005. The same email notes, our subjects purchased 359 firearms during March alone, including numerous Barrett 50 caliber rifles.
Did you feel that ATF was partly perhaps to blame for the escalating violence in Mexico and on the border?
Yes, ma'am. I even asked them if they could see the correlation between the two. The more that our guys buy, the more violence that we're having down there.
Senior agents, including Dodson, told us they confronted their supervisors over and over.
And what was the answer? What did they say?
If you're going to make an omelet, you got to scramble some eggs.
There was so much opposition to the gun walking that an ATF supervisor issued this email noting a schism among the agents. Whether you care or not, people of rank and authority at headquarters are paying close attention to this case. We are doing what they envisioned. If you don't think this is fun, you're in the wrong line of work. Maybe the Maricopa County Jail is hiring detention officers, and you can get $30,000 to serve lunch to inmates.
We just knew it wasn't going to end well. There's no way it could.
Then, on December 14, 2010, Border Patrol agent Brian Terry was gunned down. Dodson got the bad news from a colleague.
And they said, did you hear about the Border Patrol agent? And I said, yeah. And I said, well, you know, it was one of Fast and Furious guns. And there's really not much you can say after that.
2 assault rifles ATF had let walk nearly a year before, similar to these, were found at Terry's murder.
I felt guilty. I mean, it's crushing. I don't know how to explain it. I mean,
Dodson and a dozen other ATF sources have all told the same story to Senator Grassley, who's investigating.
You've tried to get some answers from ATF. What's been the response?
The response has been practically zilch, from the standpoint that documents we want, we have not gotten them, and I think it's a case of stonewalling.
Dodson says he hopes that speaking out helps the family of Border Patrol agent Brian Terry. They haven't been told much of anything about his murder or where the bullet came from.
First of all, I would tell him that I'm sorry. Second of all, I would tell him that I've done everything that I can for them to get the truth. After this, I don't know what else I can do, but I hope they get it.
Dodson says they never did take down a drug cartel. However, he says thousands of fast and furious weapons are still out there and will be claiming victims on both sides of the border for years to come.
We do have an oddity in that the Attorney General knew or should have known long before he says he did. You know, at the point that Senator Grassley is sending letters, months go by before the Attorney General says he's even aware of this program.
This is a program that put guns in the hands of criminals. We now learn that the program, the overall program, Project Gunrunner, was funded with more than $50 million. $10 million of that came from the stimulus package. We also know that there's another effort by ATF that we're just learning about to get guns from Tampa into Honduras, violent gangs called MS-13 down there. This seems to be expanding, and we don't know really where it's headed.
To Darrell Issa, according to the Washington Post, he was briefed on this program in April of 2010. So it's a little curious to hear him talking about how this was some secret program that nobody knew about.
No, but the Attorney General testified in front of his committee that he didn't know about the program until a couple of weeks before March of this year. This is the Attorney General.
Right, but I'm talking about Darrell Issa. It says he was given highly specific information about it in April 2010 briefing. Members of his staff also attended the session, and this is in the Washington Post, June 21st. So, I mean, he should probably address that because he seems to have known about it.
Okay, but what the administration knew, he's doing the investigation.
But the administration is doing an investigation. The Attorney General is doing the IG to do an investigation. The White House didn't know about it. The President has said that. They think it was a bad program. You know, it's not a scandal.
And you buy that.
I do. I absolutely buy it, unless there's some other information that comes
ATF just
forward.
operates solely on their own to put guns in the hands of criminals and not track them across the border.
It started with ATF in Arizona, and then it had the cooperation, as I understand it, of the Justice Department. But I don't think that
with ATF sending guns to Honduras, how do you have like similar programs that are not linked by some overriding authority?
Everything doesn't have to be a conspiracy. I mean, I don't know, but I'm saying specifically to this one, the White House says that they didn't know about it, and they're doing an investigation into it.
Okay, Charles, when the acting ATF director shows up for testimony and he brings his own personal attorney, things are changing.
If you're in the administration, that's not a good sign. It means that he was a guy chosen as a sacrificial lamb, and he's not going to go quietly. He's looking out now for himself. He realized he's been abandoned by the administration, so to protect himself, he's going to talk. It's like John Dean, perhaps, and I'm not sure it's going to be a summer scandal. I would predict it's going to be an autumn scandal as well. In the end, the issue isn't Darrell Issa, it's Eric Holder. What did he know, and when did he know it?
We have 2 Border Patrol agents who are dead, who were killed by guns that were allowed, as far as we can tell, to deliberately walk out of gun shops under the program often called Fast and Furious. This program, as you know, and the President's been asked about it, you've been asked about it, allowed for weapons to be sold to straw purchasers, and ultimately many of those weapons are today in the hands of drug cartels and other criminals. When did you first know about the program, officially I believe called Fast and Furious? To the best of your knowledge, what date?
I'm not sure the exact date, but I probably heard about Fast and Furious for the first time over the last few weeks.
Now that you've been briefed on it, the President has said on March 22nd that you didn't authorize it. Did your Deputy Attorney General, James Cole, authorize it?
I'm sorry, the
Deputy Attorney General, James Cole?
Did he? I didn't hear. Did he?
Did the Deputy Attorney General authorize it?
My guess would be no. Mr. Cole, I don't think was in the. I don't think he was in the department at the time that operation started.
But he's been aware of it much longer.
been aware of it much longer
than you have, since you've only been aware of it a few weeks. How about the head of the criminal division,
sure
Lanny Brewer? Did he authorize it?
I'm not sure whether Mr. Brewer authorized it. I mean, you have to understand the way in which the department operates. Although there are operations, this one has gotten a great deal of publicity.
Yeah, they're dead Americans as a result of this failed and reckless program. So I would say that it hasn't gotten enough attention, has it, Mr. Attorney General?
It's not necessarily. I mean, there's an investigation that is underway.
We believe that he was aware of it much earlier than he said in his testimony and questioning before Judiciary Committee. In follow-up, it became pretty clear, and in most of the follow-up was done by Jason Chase as the original source. But you know, President knew about it apparently before Eric Holder. According to Eric Holder, certainly, you know, there were things in which he was supposed to be on the call, but somebody from his boss that occurred before that time. So there's those sort of questions, but we're not, since the President said that neither he nor Eric Holder authorized it, and Eric Holder said he didn't know about it till just a week before the hearing. That can be worked out over time, whether that's right. Lanny Brewer, who was responsible on the criminal side for authorizing many of these things, and a host of other people, and some of it's in our reports. The balance will be in releases in the next few days. There are a host of emails where the distribution list goes to the top levels of justice. I understand, Fred. We're not presuming that in every case the principal person there understands it. What we're saying is that each of these offices at the highest levels were broadcast or emailed or in the distribution, and effectively, in some cases, there's a signature either on behalf of that individual or even their own signature.